Great respect for Coach Dawkins and UCF's program, and it's going to be a great challenge for us, one of the better teams in the league. And they've been really tested all season long. They've been in a lot of close games. They've won big games. They've had a really strong schedule, as strong as anybody in the conference. And obviously, what they just did in terms of playing Houston at Houston in the game they did, they played there and they were right there in that game. So, great challenge for us coming up tomorrow night.
Coach, I know you guys are all the way on to UCF, but how much confidence can y'all take from winning on the road? And a place ECU's never won at Wichita.
I've been asked about that quite a bit, and I think the biggest thing is that it was a conference win. It was a conference road win. I mean, that we know how important and how hard those are to come by, and wherever you can get them. And so much respect for Wichita State's program and the basketball history they have, and obviously, they had a certain record versus ECU up until the other day. But regardless, really the confidence stems from just a conference win, and being on the road makes it that much better, because winning on the road, it doesn't matter conference or non-conference, it's just so difficult.
What can you build on out of that game, Coach?
Just to hopefully continue with our defense. I think it's 4 games now, pretty consistently, that our defense at least is trending the right direction in terms of what we want to be about and who we want to be defensively. So we want to keep building there. I thought our ball movement was much better in the Wichita State game than it was in the Temple game. So you hope we can keep building on that as well. We ran a lot better. We ran pretty good versus Temple, but we finished in the Wichita State game. We made some challenge layups in the full court, and we finished around the rim, which really hurt us. And then obviously, everybody was talking about it, the free throws. We shot the ball from the free throw line well on the road, and we took care of the ball. 2 things you have to do to win on the road, and you hope that continues. You just, that's nothing you can guarantee, but obviously we shot the ball well free throw wise the other day.
How much is tightening up the rotation really help defensively, like communication, guys knowing how to play off each other, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think that is. I think that's a big deal. I think anytime the rotation's a little bit smaller, I think you get guys that probably have a little bit more of a comfort zone in terms of what they're trying to do. That being said, everybody practices. I mean, for example, Ben Biella didn't play versus Wichita State. I mean, he was awesome in practice yesterday. I mean, he had one of the better practices he's had all year long. So I think the team is pretty connected defensively, but whenever you play 8 guys and 3 or 4 guys are playing 30-plus minutes and we could stay out of foul trouble, I think that definitely helped.
You mentioned to Jeff after the game when the offense was struggling because the ball was sticking. That's something you mentioned to us earlier in the year. Have you figured out when the ball's sticking, what is kind of the cause of that?
Yeah, and it's usually off-ball movement. Sometimes when you get in a little bit of a rut offensively, what happens is guys tend to just stand and watch, and they don't move off the ball. And one of the most unselfish plays you can make in basketball is moving without the basketball, is setting a screen, is doing something where the ball might not be in your hands. It may not even be getting ready to be in your hands, but you're just creating what we call gravity, maybe just moving the defense, making the defender maybe flatten out to the baseline because of your movement, opening something else for something up top, whether it's a ball screen or a drive or whatever it may be. And I think when we get caught a little stagnant is when we're not moving off the basketball, when we're not moving and cutting. And we were better with that versus Wichita.
UCF's defensive numbers really jump off the page. Just what do they do well on that side of the ball?
I mean, they're just like Wichita State. They're one of the best defensive teams in the conference. I mean, they're right up there with Houston and Wichita State. I mean, they give up 60 points a game. They guard the 3-point line. They're big. They're physical. They got big guards. They keep you out of the paint. They can mix it up with the zone press back to man, a zone press back to zone defense, a lot like Wichita State did. And they can block shots. They're averaging 4 block shots per game. Players that are playing at the guard position can go, give your guards a hard time at the rim. So they got good size. They rebound the basketball well. Anytime you're a really good defensive rebounding team, it elevates your defense. So we know what kind of challenge it's going to be for us to be effective on offense.
Y'all, despite being maybe outmanned in size, y'all done a good job rebounding. And is that just a matter of mentality, like kind of team crashing the boards? And because y'all are fighting for a lot of rebounds, maybe out-muscling teams that may be bigger.
Yeah, I think so. We talk about them. We've talked about it with our guys. I've spoken about it with the media before, that we know this, that we are outsized a lot of time in terms of whether it be depth in the front court or just sheer size. Number 2, we do make a huge emphasis on it every day in practice, both offensive and defensive rebounding. If you look at our defensive rebounding numbers over the last few games, I mean, Brandon obviously is standing out and so proud of what he's doing as a defensive rebounder, and he's taking great pride in it. But a big thing for us is our guards rebounding. I mean, when Jaden Walker and Javon Small and R.J. Felton can all go rebound the basketball, we need it. It's a big deal for us. And then, Luigi came in the game and gave us some good physical minutes when he came in rebounding the ball. But it's something we have to work on every day. I think all teams do it, but we have to really emphasize it because maybe we don't have, like you said, quite the size up front.
It'll be the return of Brandon Suggs, who played 3 years here. Just did you have any interaction with him after taking the job, and then what do you see from him on?
Yeah, I got a chance to meet Brandon at a team meeting, and I got a chance to be around him one practice. Seems like a wonderful kid, but I only got a chance to coach him for one practice and meet him that one time. So I know he's playing well. Their team is playing well. They're one of the best teams in the conference. So he'll be excited to come back. It's an American Conference game back where he played. So that'll be he's a really good player.
Everybody talks about American Conference basketball as one of the stronger conferences in the country. How do you feel coming in as your first 2 games facing the new conference?
Yeah, without a doubt Temple, to play Temple in here and then go to Wichita State. When I was at Tulsa, I had a familiarity with this conference and played at Temple and played against them. And Wichita State, they weren't in the American at the time. They were still in the Missouri Valley, but we had a series with them, and they had Fred VanVleet, and they had Ron Baker, and they had a really good team. So point is that coming into this season, I knew what kind of conference this was. And, we haven't even talked about a team like Houston, which obviously everybody is chasing. Everyone is trying to emulate their success, or Memphis. And the list goes on. We could start talking about all the teams. So first 2 games between Temple and Wichita State, 2 storied programs, 2 great coaches, and we're fortunate that we were able to get one of those in terms of a win.